Good afternoon and welcome to NMS. Today I want to do a video entitled Cortisol Explained, how cortisol actually works in the body. And the reason I want to do this video is because I do believe that a lot of people talk about cortisol in such a bad way, and it's important to realize that cortisol is actually necessary for the body. So let's get started. So what is cortisol? Cortisol is one of the body's main stress hormones. Okay, it's made by the adrenal glands and is released in a daily rhythm, highest in the morning, lowest at night time, and it's in response to stress. Okay, so how does cortisol work? Well, cortisol responds to stress by preparing the fight or flight response. It increases blood sugar by stimulating glucose production and limits uptake into some cells, ensuring energy for the brain and muscles. Now, stimulating glucose production basically means breaking down stored glucose, okay, and using that for energy, okay? So it dampens inflammation through immune regulation and helps control the immune system response. It does help with cardiovascular function by helping to maintain blood pressure and vascular tone. It does support waking in the morning and helps regulate wake-sleep cycles. It is involved in memory, mood regulation, and saltwater balance. So when is cortisol a problem? Well, too much cortisol is obviously a problem. If there is too much cortisol or hypercortisolism, it is usually from chronic stress. Long-term corticosteroid medication use. And another one is Cushing's syndrome, which is basically a tumor or adrenal overproduction. So you could have a tumor on your adrenal glands. So what are the effects? So one is weight gain, especially around the abdomen and on face. Basically, you get sort of like a moon face. It causes muscle weakness, thinning of the skin, and can cause easy bruising. High blood sugar, insulin resistance, diabetes risk, high blood pressure, poor wound healing, suppressed immunity, mood changes, especially anxiety, depression, irritability, sleep problems. Obviously, if you got high cortisol levels, you're going to have problems with high blood glucose levels, okay? And bone loss, so osteoporosis. What about too little cortisol or hypocortisolism? So Addison's disease or adrenal insufficiency, pituitary dysfunction, and sudden stopping of long-term steroid medications can actually cause it. So what are the effects? Well, fatigue, weakness, low blood pressure, dizziness, low blood sugar, weight loss, poor appetite, skin darkening, especially in Addison's disease, and can lead to life-threatening adrenal crisis under stress. So you do need cortisol, and if you got low cortisol, that can actually cause problems with the fact that you have low blood pressure. So what is cortisol essential for? Cortisol is essential for survival. It helps you wake up. It helps you to handle stress. It keeps your metabolism and immune system balanced. It is only a problem when levels stay chronically high or when the body can't make enough. So how stress and lifestyle affect cortisol? So stress and acute stress, that is short-term stress, cortisol rises quickly to give you energy, sharpen focus, and help you respond. This is normal and usually not harmful. Chronic stress, if stress is never let up, cortisol can stay elevated. This is when people often notice issues like fatigue, anxiety, weight gain around the belly, poor sleep, or frequent illness. Now, it's important to note that cortisol comes before testosterone manufacture in the body. So if you have high cortisol level, it tends to rob your testosterone. So it can reduce your testosterone levels. That's going to be on another video. So it can affect your sleep. So cortisol follows a daily rhythm of high in the morning, low at night time. So poor or irregular sleep, shift work, all-nighters, late night screen use disrupts the rhythm. This affects waking up. Basically, you feel wired but tired, okay? So you feel like you're sort of energetic, but at the same time, you're not alert. Increased risk of metabolic issues based on this wired but tired feeling. Okay, so diet. Excess sugar and processed foods spike blood sugar and keep cortisol elevated. So obviously a poor diet is going to do that. Caffeine raises cortisol in the short term. Moderate amounts are fine. Overuse or late intake can worsen stress and sleep issues. So obviously if you're running on caffeine, that's going to raise your testosterone, your cortisol levels. Balanced meals, protein and fiber and healthy fats help stabilize blood sugar, reducing unnecessary cortisol spikes. So exercise, moderate exercises raises cortisol temporarily, but overall lowers baseline levels and improves stress resilience. So in other words, exercise is actually very good for reducing your cortisol levels, like overall, but raises them during exercise. But it's also good to note that obviously exercise gets rid of excess blood sugar, especially resistance training. So excessive intense training without recovery keeps cortisol high and can lead to fatigue, poor performance, and high injury risk, and also depressed immune system. This is what we call overtraining. So mind-body factors, relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, meditation, yoga, nature over time also lowers cortisol. So social connection and laughter also buffer the stress response. So if you're, obviously enjoying life, you've got friendships around you, people that you laugh with, this obviously helps to buffer your cortisol levels. Chronic loneliness or unresolved emotional stress can keep cortisol levels high. So what are other factors? Alcohol can increase cortisol and disrupt sleep quality. Illness or injury naturally raises cortisol for healing, but chronic inflammation can prolong this elevation. So medications like prednisone mimic cortisol and can suppress the body's natural rhythms if used for long term. So in summary, guys, cortisol helps control daily rhythms and should rise in the morning, fall through the day, and be lowest at night times. Problems arise when lifestyle factors such as chronic stress, poor sleep, unbalanced diet, overtraining, or substance use flatten or flip this curve. Now, basically, if I read into what actually causes raised cortisol levels, it's basically allowing your health to decline through lack of exercise, lack of a good diet, and obviously stressing about things that you have very little control about. Okay, so if you were to improve your diet, okay, do some exercise, especially resistance training, and also work on getting very good sleep at night time, doing some relaxation techniques, yoga and so forth. This is obviously going to improve this. If we go back to the point that excess sugar and processed foods can actually raise blood sugar levels, and that a good balanced diet of protein, fiber and healthy fats can actually help with cortisol spikes, it stands to reason that obviously this coupled with exercise is going to be one of the better things that you can do to work on your cortisol levels, okay, as well as obviously controlling stress in your life. So improving lifestyle factors is the biggest thing that you can do to lower your cortisol levels, and obviously to control belly fat, as well as obviously getting rid of things like alcohol and not having too much caffeine. Thanks for listening, guys. Subscribe, like, comment, share. Please tell your friends about these videos or share it with them, because I like to make these videos so it can actually help as many people as possible. Thanks, and keep an eye out for more videos to come.